by gift theory. Zimbabwe's main opposition party along with rights groups have accused President Emmerson Mnangagwa of bribing chiefs with cars in exchange for votes. 48 chiefs from 8 provinces were given Isuzu twin-cab vehicles from the first batch of the 52 cars. This comes after Mnangagwa splurged a fortune on 52 brand-new double-cab cars for traditional leaders, in a move that has been roundly condemned as sickening vote buying by ZANU-PF ahead of the watershed polls. And notwithstanding other more urgent needs, Mnangagwa and his deputy, Constantino Chiwenga, handed over the cars in Gweru on Saturday after meeting with 286 traditional chiefs. He said the rest of the cars were on the way. Rights groups and the opposition allege that in return of the privileges, the chiefs are expected to render unconditional support for Mnangagwa and his lieutenants in ZANU-PF and act as agents of the electoral authoritarian ruling regime in the Dodi 2018 general polls. Mnangagwa, who ascended to power last November in a military coup that toppled veteran ruler Robert Mugabe, faces a tough challenge in the presidential vote being held alongside parliamentary and municipal ballots around mid this year. The main opposition MDC said traditional leaders were obliged to be non-political actors by the supreme law of the land. Of course, Mnangagwa is smelling a humiliating defeat at the hands of the MDC in the forthcoming elections. Thus, he is desperately trying to garner support from the country's traditional leaders to enable them to virtually coerce their subjects to vote for ZANU-PF, MDC spokesperson Obit Gutu told the Daily News. However, this strategy will not work, because the majority of the chiefs and other traditional leaders are very smart people. They don't want to be used as ZANU-PF's political commissars. The time of the handover of the motor vehicles to chiefs is obviously meant to compromise them and make them willing tools of the ZANU-PF regime. This will not work because the chiefs know that the ZANU-PF regime, even under Mugabe, was never genuinely interested in looking after the welfare. Stephen Chan, a professor of world politics at the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London in the United Kingdom, said as far as he can see, Mnangagwa has continued a practice borrowed from the Mugabe era. I disagree with it, but it is, unfortunately, a common political phenomenon in many parts of Africa, opined Chan. Gladys Latiweyo, a political analyst and civil rights campaigner, said it was sad that the Mnangagwa administration was demonstrating each day that it is not different from the previous regime. They continue to use the same tactics and strategies and, personally, I struggle to see the so-called new dispensation. It is a case of misplaced priorities given the state of the economy, she said. Zimbabwe's economy is deep in the throes of a debilitating economic crisis, which has led to horrendous company closures and the consequent loss of hundreds of thousands of jobs. Life has therefore become more and more unbearable for millions of long-suffering Zimbabweans, as the local economy continues to die amid a severe shortage of cash. Latiweyo said the timing of Mnangagwa's benevolence points to the motive. Like the previous administration, this administration seeks to use traditional leaders to mobilize on its behalf ahead of upcoming elections, she said. The Mugabe regime was known for valorizing the traditional leadership institution, showering them with gifts such as vehicles, farms, farm machinery, generators, houses, mobile phones, fuel and electricity, and effectively making them agents of coercion, contrary to the much-vaunted role as custodians of national culture and traditional values. Dewa Mavinga, head of the Human Rights Watch Southern Africa, said there was no difference between Mnangagwa and Mugabe when it comes to ZANU-PF's relationship with chiefs. The timing of the car gifts to chiefs ahead of elections could point to inducements for chiefs to support and campaign for ZANU-PF in violation of the constitution, which requires chiefs to be strictly non-partisan. It points to misplaced priorities when hospitals lack basic medicines and equipment, he said. Analyst Tamuka Charles Chirimamboa said each car can buy 4 tractors, and with 230 cars, you have close to 1,000 tractors that could have boosted farmers. The buying of cars is consumption economics, and if he would have bought something like tractors, that's production economics, he said. Analyst Xyani Hope Cypher said the dishing out of cars to chiefs was a clear political move done by a party conscious of the need to seal the rural areas from the opposition. Mugabe built a massive wall of fear for the rural people, who constitute 75% of the Zimbabwean voter bloc, maintaining control over the rural vote by directing ordinary voters to give the ballot paper serial numbers to their village headmen, who would have marshaled the voters to the polling station and made them queue in a predetermined order, blatantly violating the sanctity of the vote. Intimidated villagers willingly voted for ZANU-PF, and those who disobeyed this instruction were ruthlessly punished, commanded to sprawl on the ground, sometimes naked, then clobbered on the back, buttocks, the head, while some had their homes burnt and knocked down or told never to return to the villages by ZANU-PF. Youths, pumped up with beer and marijuana. Other defiant opposition villagers were taken to re-education camps and castigated for the treachery and perfidy while suffering long nights of physical abuse and indoctrination. Under his electoral regime, rural voters faced a world where silence was the only option and chose to live in obedience, in silence, well aware any dissent would be crushed. Cypher said chiefs have over the years been very pivotal in the political economy of rural areas, as they act as instruments of both coercion and party organization. You cannot separate chiefs from ZANU-PF in most of the Mashonaland areas, where they are also key elements of the party structure. With the loyalty bought by the token cars, ZANU-PF is guaranteed the next rural vote unless the opposition employs some sophisticated programs to outflank ZANU-PF on the rural economy front. Cars are only cementing what ED has done through command inputs and other programs. Only an independent economic organization in the rural areas can liberate the people from ZANU-PF structures, said Cypher. Analyst Maxwell Songwim said the development demonstrates that Mnangagwa's presidency was a false dawn. Giving those cars is so insensitive. At a juncture we have crisis in social services, with sewage gushing out of taps in Harare and hospitals lacking essential drugs. This shows us that the military regime in Harare is interested not in public service delivery and democracy, but strengthening its foothold on power, opined Songwim. Buying chiefs' cars and making them de facto ZANU-PF campaign agents is a major, efficacious, tried and tested rigging strategy in ZANU-PF's toolbox of poll manipulation, he added. Mnangagwa's spokesperson, George Karamba, has rejected charges that the handover of cars was sickening vote buying, saying what was sickening was a chief who goes about in scorch cart or on a bicycle. Traditional leaders have conditions of service, and those conditions must be commensurate with the dignity we attach to their office as traditional leaders, he told the Daily News. As a matter of fact, that condition went unmet for almost 6 years because of problems of finance in government. If you remember, it was the last act done by the former president which the current president has implemented. It's not the first time chiefs are getting vehicles, Karamba said, warning the unelectable MDC against picking a fight over that issue and alienating chiefs by questioning why they should be driving. Daily News.